We were driving down to Kansas City on Friday and saw this sign. I don't know how they knew my sermon title, but there it was on a big billboard, Fee Fi Fo Fum. Actually, it said Fee Fi Fo Fight, something like that. We also saw a sign that said Johnson County Farm and Home Show, or House and Garden Show. And I thought, wow, we've been advertising a long way away. Unfortunately, there's also a Johnson County, Kansas City somewhere. I don't know. There was once an archaeologist who was doing some work in the Negev, and he'd come across a mummy. And he determined through his expert analysis that this mummy had died about 3,000 years ago of a heart attack, but he wanted some confirmation of his estimate. So he calls up a curator friend of his at a museum and says, I'm sending you a mummy, and I'd like you to analyze this mummy and see what's going on and see if my analysis is correct about this 3,000-year-old heart attack patient. And so he sends them the mummy, FedEx, I'm sure, and he gets the mummy, and the curator examines it, puts him under the X-ray, does MRIs, does ultraviolet, does all this kind of stuff. Calls up his friend again and says, "Wow, that's impressive. How did you know that he died 3,000 years ago of a heart attack?" And the archaeologist says, "Well, I found a piece of paper in his hand that said, put $10,000 on Goliath to win." $10,000 on Goliath to win. Don's looking at me like, where's the drummer? I need a drummer. This story is a classic. This particular picture up on the wall is from a church in Turkey, built about 1,000 years ago, and they carved this story into their wall of their church on the outside. There's David and Goliath. Goliath is the big one. And I don't know why they're wearing medieval robes and armor, but so they are. I don't know what this gazelle is doing down here in the bottom all curled up, but he's just hiding out or something. I don't know what the gazelle is about. I don't know who that guy in the window is either. He's just looking on saying, what's happening there? It might be God. I don't know. An angel? Something. I really don't know. But that's... It's one of those stories that's absolutely timeless, and people have been talking about it for years. I showed this particular picture last week. This is Bernini's picture of David. This was a more modern interpretation, going after Goliath. It's a story that we've heard since childhood. It's a story that we've heard forever. And it fits just about anywhere. In childhood, it could be a story about bullies. It could be a story about dealing with anything, because everybody looks like a giant when you're 6. I mean, everybody is 3 feet taller than you are. And you have to deal with all of those giants in the world. And so it really fits in. And oftentimes, we can't understand why these bullies have to come after us, why these giants are there. We may not understand how this story fits, but we do understand the truth of this thing. That when God is on our side, we can accomplish anything. In this... No, something skipped. I don't know where it went, but it skipped. Brad? All right. I mean, it must have skipped like... The condensed version. The Reader's Digest version. I am sure he does. It's a sign from God. I'll take it. As we look at David and Goliath, and try to put him more in his context, we see that Goliath, that David and Goliath, it just goes there, doesn't it? These are all, I don't have any in the slides. Okay, oh well. Maybe that's the way it went. I just don't remember it. It was an hour ago that I looked at this thing. This is not my day for memory. I think that's right, Brad. I'm just out of it. No, that's all right. We'll just start here, and we got to get done 15 minutes early. Ruth asked. This account really has brought hope to millions. Whether you're dealing with an oppressive government in Sudan, whether or not you're dealing with a playground bully, Whether you're dealing with a cancer that you can't beat, or whether you're dealing with a government that you cannot fight against. In whatever situation, we know that if God is on our side, we can deal with it. He can deal with it. No matter what our skills are, we can deal with the Goliaths in our life. This chapter also plays a pivotal role in 1 Samuel. It's not just a story that the author thought, hey, King David did this, well, let's have some fun, and recorded it forever. It has a role to play. The Lord has withdrawn his blessing from Saul. Saul has become ineffectual and powerless, and David is on the rise. David shows us what a spirit-filled man is all about. Saul was there to help beat the Philistines, and he couldn't get the job done. So David comes along. Saul seems paralyzed. David comes along. He has the appropriate spirit-filled leadership about him. He can do anything, and he can rally the troops to get it done. Saul is on his way out. David is only motivated by his impulse to defend the honor of his God. That's his impulse. That's what he's doing. This is what needs to be motivating us, to defend God in our lives. And his victory mobilizes the army. This is something that the kings needed to do. Not just defeat the enemy one-on-one, but they needed to rally everybody. This was not only a physical thing, a military thing, this was a spiritual thing. The kings were supposed to draw the country to the Lord. And when the Lord was with them, they won. The main purpose of this text is to confirm that David has all of these characteristics, all of these qualities, and he is the rightful king. He is the fulfillment of all the prophecies that have been about him, that there would be a man after God's own heart, that there would be a man better than Saul coming along, and David is fulfilling that. Now the battle lines are drawn here in the valley of Elah. Defeating the Philistines was supposed to be part of Saul's job. This is why they crowned him, to defeat the Philistines. They thought they needed an earthly general to run their armies, and so they got him there. But he wasn't doing the job. Somewhere along the line, I got a movie about the Valley of Elah. I haven't seen this one. Have you guys? It must be something about David, but I don't know. I don't know why I put it in there either. That's been too long since I did that. Now, this is where the Valley of Elah is. Now, if you imagine the Mediterranean is over here off the screen this way, and the Dead Sea is off the screen that way, and Jerusalem is off the screen at the top, you can see this countryside. Here's a much better picture of it. There's a gas station right there. It's where Goliath went and got gas.